Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kimmy and today we're going to be talking about present simple. That is probably one of the most familiar English tenses on the planet to learn, especially for us as an English learner. So today I'm going to be telling you the secret how to make it a lot easier for you to use, because I believe that there's a lot of confusions, especially when we want to make a negative sentence or even question. So without further ado, let's just get started. So for a start, I have a very simple kind of passage for us to identify and analyze the context in present simple. Let's see this example. Alex is a bus driver, but now he is in bed asleep. He is not driving a bus, but because he is a bus driver, his own activity is he drives a bus. As you may have probably known that we've got 7 pronouns or even more depending on what subject you're talking to. So we've got I, you, we and they, and also he, she, it. So if we take a look at the previous example from the word drive, so if we can use kind of another subject, for example, I, you, we, they, then we use drive. So it's following the very basic form from the dictionary. And if you use he, she, it, then we probably have to use s at the end of the verb. So it becomes he drives, she drives, and it drives. Now let's take a look at the usage of when or how do we use present simple. So there are basically 3 points or 3 reasons why we use present simple. The first one, you can use present simple if you are going to talk about things in general. That's probably the first one. The second one, you can also use this present simple if you are talking about something that is happening regularly or repeatedly, or even that happens all the time. And the last one, you can also use this if you are talking about something that is true, also in general. So, for example, nurses look after patients in hospitals. I usually go away at weekends. The earth goes round the sun. The cafe opens at 7:30 in the morning. Please bear in mind, if the subject is, let's say, singular, he, she, it, then you should add s or es at the end of the verb. For example, instead of saying she work, you can put s, she works. However, if the subject is plural, for example, nurses, like the first example I told you before, then instead of saying nurses works, nurses work. No s. Now, how do we make negative and even question in present simple? So basically, if you are using verb, then we have to use, I would say, the helper, do or does. So how do we choose, or when do we choose do or does? You can use do if the subjects are I, you, we and they. However, you can also use does if the subjects are he, she and it. For example, do you work? No, I don't work. What about her? Does she work? No, she doesn't work. I've got a couple of examples to help you imagine the usage of do and does in negative and also question sentences in present simple. The first example is, I come from Canada. Where do you come from? I don't go away very often. What does this word mean? Rice doesn't grow in cold climate. In the following examples, do is not only as a helper, but it can also become kind of main verb. For example, what do you do? I work in a shop. He's always so lazy. He never does anything really. Right. Present simple can also be used to say or to talk about how often you do things, how often you watch TV, for example, how often you go to the cinema, and so on. So I've got also another bunch of examples. The first one is, I get up at 8 o'clock every morning. How often do you go to the dentist? Julie doesn't drink tea very often. Robert usually goes to the beach once or twice in a year. Sometimes when we do things, we also say something first. For example, if you are going to promise something to someone, you can say, I promise, I blah blah blah. Or if you are giving any suggestions to anyone, you can say, I suggest that you blah blah blah. So let's take a look at the examples here. The first one is, I promise I won't be late. What do you suggest I do? I suggest that you learn English consistently. So instead of saying I promise, I suggest, you can also use other alternatives. For example, I apologize, I advise, I insist, I agree, I refuse, and many more. Take a look at them in your own dictionary. There are a lot of it. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have found this very helpful to you, and I hope it can help you a little bit of understanding a little bit more how to use and when to use present simple in English. So thank you so much. I'll see you in another video. Bye bye.